Hello. Welcome back to Sabbath School Flashcards. It is Monday, March 9th, and the title for today's lesson is A Vision of the Prince. Read Daniel 10:4-9. Reading, And in the 24th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. And I Daniel alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone, and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. What happens to Daniel here? As Daniel describes his experience, we can hardly imagine the overwhelming splendor of what he sees. That human appearance described in Daniel 10:5 and 6 harks back to the Son of Man, depicted in the vision of the heavenly judgment in Daniel 7:13. His linen clothing is reminiscent of priestly garments. Referencing Leviticus 16:4. Reading, He shall put on the holy linen coat, and he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh, and shall be girded with a linen girdle, and with the linen mitre shall he be attired. These are holy garments, therefore shall he wash his flesh in water, and so put them on. It is an aspect that likens this personage to the Prince of the Host, depicted in connection with the heavenly sanctuary in Daniel 8. Gold is also associated with the priestly regalia as a sign of royal dignity. Last, the likening of this figure to lightning, fire, bronze, and a powerful voice portrays him as a supernatural being. This is someone invested with priestly, royal, and military attributes. This figure also displays interesting similarities to the heavenly being who appears to Joshua shortly before the battle against Jericho. Joshua 5:13 and 14. In the vision, Joshua sees the commander of the army of the Lord. Interestingly, the Hebrew word translated as commander, sar, here is the same word translated as prince in reference to Michael in Daniel 10:21. But a closer parallel occurs between Daniel and John, who received a vision of the risen Lord on the Sabbath day. What similarities do we find between Daniel's vision of the Son of God in Daniel 10 and those in Joshua 5:13-15? Reading, And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and, behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand, and Joshua went unto him, and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth, and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. And Revelation 1:12-18, which reads, And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp two-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. And the laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, I am the first and the last, I am he that liveth, and was dead, and, behold, I am alive forevermore, Amen, and have the keys of hell and of death. According to Daniel, those who are with him are frightened off, and Daniel himself falls weak and frail to the ground. The manifestation of God's presence simply overwhelms him. Yet whatever his immediate fears, Daniel's vision shows that God is in control of history. Indeed, as the vision unfolds, we will see that God provides Daniel with an outline of human history from the times of the prophet until the establishment of God's kingdom, Daniel 11 and 12. If, as we have seen over and over in Daniel, the Lord can keep human history under control, what can He do for our individual lives? Discuss your answers in class on Sabbath. This is Witness Glenn. Have a great day.